you wouldn't believe what kind of man Mr. Charlie was. He called me Mr. Bill, even though he was way older than me. You couldn't believe it. He said in 1926 he came home, said he was wearing white man Sunday school clothes and driving a brand new car. He said the rest of us were barefoot and riding on mules. And so, you know, for us to think that these guys were drunks and, you know, didn't know what to do, that means at least once a weekend, he was making, I'm sure he gave those people $50. He was making at least $200 once a weekend. And so he had a pocket full of money. The finest clothes, nice new cars, traveled all over the Delta and played in different places like that. And so, now, the reason Dockery is so important is because these blues musicians could come here and listen to this blues being played on Saturday night, on Monday hop on the train, on Wednesday morning be in Chicago and play the exact same thing they learned around that front porch to a world audience. And they would go back and forth, come down, learn new rides, learn new lyrics, all that stuff, go back to Chicago, come back and forth. Tommy Johnson did that. Howlin' Wolf was here as a child. He came here when he was about 10 years old. He left when he was 18. Charlie taught him how to play the guitar here. You all heard of Howlin' Wolf. I know you're familiar with the Staple Singers, the gospel group. Well, the old man Pops was here. He was about 18 when he came here and left at 21 on that train. And his family is still performing in Chicago as a gospel group. So all those people were trained right here at Dockery. That's why they call it the birthplace of the blues, not because the first blues note was written here, but because so much blues was taught from here and left here. And, you know, nobody knows who played the first blues note, but so much of it was written and developed here. And so people call Charlie Patton the father of the blues. He was one of the first to be recorded. And he also taught all these other people how to play here. Robert Johnson came here. All of them came here because it was an isolated bunch of folks. They couldn't play in Cleveland, couldn't play in Clarksdale. That's all a misnomer. The minute they stepped off the train back then, sheriff showed up, mayor showed up, police chief showed up, ran them off. Why? The minute they started playing, everybody got drunk, stabbed each other. And so, boom, they don't want them. So they'd run them off. They had to come to these isolated plantations like this to play and make money. They could not play in these small communities. And, you know, maybe every once in a while on the edge of one of them. But if they saw them in town, they ran them off.